My name is Joe, and I'm an alcoholic. We're going to bring up the second speaker. We're not going to waste any time because I know he's been sitting patiently waiting. And I'd like to thank Fred and his bride for coming here. What Fred didn't know is that I used to be one of those guys in the wholesale meat house with one of them white coats on and carrying a big meat hook. So he knew me pretty well before he ever got up here. And I'm going to bring up the second speaker. And he's a guy that most of you people know. And in case you don't know him, you'll know him after this meeting's over. I'm going to bring up Leo. Come on up here, Leo.
Good morning. My name is Leo Hurley. I'm one of those cross-addicted, inside-out addicted, backward addicted, chemically dependent, polyunsaturated, manic depressant, homicidal, suicidal, alcoholic. And I bring that all out because when I got sober, we were just alcoholics. Now I hear all these titles. And, I feel lonely sometimes. Not that I couldn't have been in any of these groups. I mean, there isn't a group I couldn't join. AA, BA, CA, QA, FA. It doesn't matter to me. And it was brought out to me. I was in a nursing home with a friend of mine, and he went to see his old man, and the poor guy was 92 years old, and he had no teeth, and he was dribbling. And so Thomas takes him out for a walk, and I sit down, and there's a whole bowl of peanuts there. So I said, I think I'll have one. Of course, I ate the whole damn bowl, to be honest. I chucked it in. So when Thomas comes back with his father, I said to the guy, Jesus, Mr. Henderson, I'm sorry. I said, I ate your whole bowl of peanuts. I said, but I'll be back tomorrow. I'll bring you a new bowl. He said, nah, you don't have to do that. I only sucked the chocolate off the top of them anyway. So. So, be careful what you're looking at. Anyway, I like Fred. I like what he had to say. And he comes from Patterson, which is the east end of Brooklyn. Let me tell you that much. Now, I'm here to tell you my humble opinion. Number one cause of alcoholism, women. Right? Not women, is it? Must be men then? Well, if it ain't men and it ain't women, it ain't my mother and father, it is not the Irish or the Catholic Church or any of that other crap I hear running around today. Now, I had a good Catholic education. A little violent, but good. They were good to a guy like me. I mean, Fred, they kept me from going blind. I mean, any Catholics here? They never taught me no bad stuff. Hell, they told me God didn't like lying, cheating, humping, and stealing. Oh, God. But I agree with what Fred was talking about. I hung out on the same corners, and I was that other guy he talked about. I was a little skinny guy with a loud mouth, and I had friends like Big Jim, and we had a guy, Little Mac. He was the heavyweight champ of Sing Sing when he was up there. And I would get in an argument with you, and I'd tell him, Mac, come here. Frankie, get over here. We had Joey Blue Eyes and guys like that. But for a guy like me personally, I don't know about nobody else. But I was born June 22nd, 1939 at 6:26 a.m. I should have been taken from the delivery room to an AA meeting is where I should have went. Now, stabbings and beatings and shootings and my mommy spanking my hiney and people telling me they didn't love me had nothing to do with my alcoholism. I'm telling you that. You could have put me in with the Brady Bunch, Dr. Huxtable, Father Knows Best. I'm alcoholic. And you can't make a non-alcoholic an alcoholic. I tried that. I married 3 of them. I would take these poor souls and pump 1 or 2 into them and say, would you like another one? They'd say, oh, no, I'm beginning to feel it. Well, shit, that's the purpose of this stuff. You see, that's why these misguided souls around here ask us that dumb question, why do you drink? Because it makes me feel better, you jackass. Why do you think I would take a drink? I hope you don't think I like the taste of that crap. And I'm a top shelf guy. Crown Royal, Chivas Regal, Grand Marnier, Beefeater, Night Train, Mad Dog, Ripple, Janitor in a Drum with a Twist. Who cares? I mean, Jesus. Who cares? I was at a party one night. I was on a VO kick or something, and I said to the guy, about 10 o'clock, he says, Leo, we're at a VO. I said, good night. You know I didn't say. I said to him, what's in that green bottle? He said, turpentine. I said, give me a drink. Let me try that out. Now, I came from a dysfunctional family. I came from a dysfunctional neighborhood, to be honest with you. See that movie Goodfellas? They were next door neighbors, and I knew Henry and Jimmy and Tommy and Joe and guys like him. I knew guys that make them look like choir boys. Now, my grandfather, Mike, was a gun runner and a bookmaker. He had 12 kids. They were gun runners and bookmakers. My uncles were Bone Crusher Butch and Gangsy and Muggsy, and my father's friends were Frankie Auto Parts and Joey Bag of Donuts and Patsy the Hunchback and Knuckles O'Toole, and Jesus, all alcoholics. This had nothing to do with me, though. See, I drank socially from the ages of 1 to 12. But here we go, Fred. Corner, Brooklyn, 1952, Flatbush Tigers. I'm going in there to start hanging around with them. At the time, I was 5'6". I weighed 200 pounds. Had a little part in my hair. I had on these Levi dungarees and BF Flyer sneakers. We didn't have these Reeboks and all these other things I see. We just had these BF Flyers. And I got into this schoolyard, and there were real men in there. They were 15 and 16. They had tattoos of mom and dad and murder and riot and kill and these big DA haircuts. And these women all had on these tight dungarees. And Jesus, I was scared of this. And a local jackass, little Augie, just got out of Elmira. And he was in charge of recruits. So he took us into the alley. And I sat down, the eyes are going. I look like Spanky from our gang, with a little part in my hair and a cowlick. And give me a bottle of Rheingold. I can remember like it was yesterday. And I started to drink. I sat down, and I started to drink it, and halfway down it happened. My feet got hot. In fact, they started to burn. And it shot up I stood up, it shot out my hands, it shot out the top of my head. I took another drink, I went like this. When I re-looked, I was 6'9", 290 pounds, I had arms on me like that Schwarzenegger guy. I had that Clint Eastwood hair. Jesus, I had that Jack Dempsey punch, I had that John Gotti. Get over here, man, I don't want to talk to your ass now. All these tough guys who scared me a minute ago got smaller looking to me. They all shrunk. And the women who terrified me were now looking at me saying, take me, Leo. Take me. I mean, why wouldn't you drink? Here's the answer. Here's the answer to all the... See, normal people never get this. You see, an alcoholic, I only needed 2 drinks, really. 1 to make me even, 2 to make me superior. That second drink slid down. It was a new game here. See, non-alcoholics don't get that. They don't know what the hell we're talking about. But if anybody knows anything else, I went home that night. I spun around in the bed. I threw up. I woke up in the world. I was 5'6", 200 pounds, and I didn't like it. I got back to the schoolyard. It happened the next night. And it happened for the next 20 years. Jesus, it happened every time I picked up a drink. What an awesome thing. Now, drugs... They were kind of dirtbaggy, to be honest with you. In my neighborhood, you had to shoot heroin. I didn't know nothing else about it. Now, I would never shoot heroin. I don't like needles. I don't take blood tests today, to be honest with you. If I go to a doctor and he wants blood, I tell him, look, pop me in the nose and we'll let it drip on that little thing there. I would drink liquid heroin on the rocks. I got no problem with that. And the same way, I pinky up, But I don't want you to think I know nothing about drugs. 6 months after this little schoolyard incident, my mother came over to me and said to me, come here, Tubby, I want to talk to you. And she whips me off to a diet doctor. He gives me these little white pills. I lose 60 pounds. I grow 5.5 inches. I stop taking these diet pills, and I gain 60 pounds. So better living through chemistry for the next 19 years. I took 5 diet pills a day. And what it did for me, it made me a wide-awake, skinny drunk. Let me tell you that one. I drove at one speed, 100. I drove up your ass. You cut me off in Brooklyn, I'd chase you to Patterson to cut you back off, finger out the window. And nobody went to Patterson. You didn't even fly over Patterson in those days. I got him, Donnie. Donnie told me, don't let him get away with that Brooklyn remark. And alcoholism is the same no matter where you go. It's the same corner, same guys, same screwballs. You know, Fred was lucky. He was a guy who got educated. Now, I picked up a drink. I had two words for you. I know. I wasn't going to waste no time in schools. I had gotten accepted 5th out of 5,000 into one of the best Catholic high schools in Brooklyn. 1 year later, I was the first one they threw out. Called my parents up. They said, there's something wrong with this guy. Sure there was. I knew everything. I had a drink in me now. There was no sense of talking to me anymore. I wasn't going to take that board. See, I wasn't into that. I was very athletic. I played liar's poker, matches, dice, pool, shuffleboard. I want them bones, man. I don't want no football. Jesus, we weren't getting paid nothing in those days, so it wasn't worth anything to me. And I learned all the jackass things guys in my neighborhood would learn. Friday night, my neighborhood was sharkskin suit night. You would spend 2 hours getting dressed up for this little... Now, that is no kid. Primarily, I was going out to get laid, to be honest with you. And in 20 years, I got laid twice going out. Nothing ever happened. But I would spend 2 hours getting dressed. Sharkskin suit, pink shirt. Fred mentioned it. I used to have a big-ass keychain hanging down. But I used to leave the key in the ignition. And when I got out, it used to rip off this hoop all the time. So I had no hoop on there. But, you know, you would batten up with the old DA and put it in place. And you would put the cufflinks up. And, man, you would be heading out. I'd head to the Copa. And I was a great winker. You know, girls scared me to death. And I'd go in there, be a nice-looking babe way down the end, and I'd wink. See, I think I'll ask her to dance. Then I'd have about 20 quick drinks. Taking all the speed, I drank quick. Let me tell you something. This shit went down. Now, by the 21st drink, I'd say, screw her. She wants to dance. Let her come down here and ask me to dance. Now, when you drink that way, you got to go to the bathroom. So you run into the thing and you got to get stuffed in a booth and you pick up that toilet seat with your foot. God forbid my hand should touch that toilet seat at 9 o'clock at night. Now, 4 o'clock in the morning, my tongue is in that bowl. I'd come back Saturday morning, there'd be pigeon caca all over me, bullet holes in my jacket, knife marks. God almighty. This was weekend after weekend. I mean, God almighty. My dating was bizarre. I'd start out at 9 o'clock at night with some nice-looking babe. Something looked like Bo Derek. By 9:15, she got rid of me. Just a cuckoo, this guy. 4 o'clock in the morning, I'd be in some hamburger joint with something looked like John Derek. And 6 o'clock in the morning, I'd wake up in this surf hotel on Coney Island in an old tin bed. And I don't know about anybody else, but I wasn't one of those guys who woke up and wondered, boom, I popped up, you know. And I'm looking, there's a pair of feet next to you. And you start up, and, oh, no! You'd have thought I stopped in a museum and got a mummy out of there. I mean, Jesus Christ. And she'd say, are we going for breakfast? I said, we ain't going nowhere. Are you? I'm sure she was as shocked to see me. Don't get me wrong. I would run downstairs and get into one of my new cars, and I had to see these suckers. I would buy them brand new. 6 weeks later, I couldn't give them away. Fenders missing, windshields blown out. You know how you rip along the highway with the old Camel? My lips are dry. And, you know, when you pull the ash sticks in your hands, I just chuck it in the back. A big fire going up. If I was down in Nathan's, I'd jump out. I'd go up on the sidewalk. I'd have 15 hot dogs, 12 chow mein on a bun. Back of my car, up on Wisham Parkway. Now, I was always in a hurry. I don't know where I was going, but I was in a hurry. Now, when you eat that way, you get sick. Only I ain't got time to pull over. So, stuff would wrap around, come right in the back window. I'd have hot dogs plastered in there. If I was over in Little Italy, linguinis would be shooting out of my mouth. And And I would leave this stuff for my butler. And we'd have no butler. So this is the state I'm in. Now, comes 1959. I'll describe to you. Well, I just described to you how I look. But besides that, I'm selfish, self-centered, self-seeking, full of self-delusion. I'm wallowing in self-pity. I'm full of fear, guilt, hate, remorse, anxiety. I got jealousy like you won't believe. I'm full of lust. I'm vulgar, and I'm foul-mouthed. I decide I'll get married. I need some responsibility. I can't take care of a gerbil. How am I going to take care of responsibility? This is stupid. And in the next 8 years, I married 3 of the most gorgeous, beautiful, caring, sharing Mother Teresa type women. When I got through with them, Freddy Krueger wouldn't have them. Let me tell you, they were vicious and vindictive and full of wrath and carrying weapons and holy Christ. I remember one time I went into court, she said, "There he is!" I expected her to be crying and wanting me back, and holy Jesus. I mean, this is dumb. This is alcoholism at its finest, See, I got to get to AA, only I don't know about it. I can't get there because in my neighborhood, AA was a no-no. I remember one time I took one of those tests. I don't know what I don't even know why I looked at it, but I remember the questions, and it said, "Do you spend all your money on alcohol?" I said, "Certainly." "Do you have car accidents?" I said, "Geez, I had one last night." I wrote that in there. It says, "Have you ever beaten up your wife under the influence of alcohol?" And I wrote in just a little. See, I was proud of no punching them. Threatening them with guns was okay. You're crazy when I got back here. Or in Brooklyn, a big thing was the knife deal. I'll cut you ear to ear with this thing. Now, I'm so high on all this crap I'm taking, I thought I was like that kung fu guy. If you shot a bullet at me, I'd go, So she says to me, "Give me that knife." I said, "What, are you kidding? You think that knife would bother me?" And I went, "Oh, shit, the blood all shooting out of me." And the next question comes, says, "Have you ever been in a hospital for alcoholism?" I said, "No." You know why? They didn't have none. Well, they had Hazleton. Hazleton was in Minnesota. I thought Minnesota was in Korea. I don't know where Minnesota is. I live in Brooklyn. What am I going to do with that? So let me tell you something. I have tried, like chapter 3 in the big book says, by every conceivable means, what am I going to do? I'm going to try to prove myself not alcoholic. Oh, and I hung around with all liars. And the gin mills I hung out in, you hang around with all liars. You lie to me for 10 minutes, I lie to you for 10 minutes. We go down and lie to someone else for 10 minutes. You got 6 kids? I got 8. You know the bishop? I had dinner with the cardinal last night. No big deal. I know what Fred's talking about. I took a trip in 1959 over to Hoboken. I mean, geez, people used to ask me, "Leo, why don't you travel overseas?" I said, "I did. I went to Staten Island." Very right. But anyway, I wind up in, oh no, I know what it was. I was in a bar in Brooklyn. Some guy comes in, he says to me, "There's a whole load of broads over in Hoboken." I get in a car, I go. I don't ask them where, I just go. I figure I'm going to find them. And I wind up in this joint with these nice Cuban people. And anyway, I hear them talking about guns. So the antennas go up. I'm one of Joey's friends there. I said, "Guy, come here. Well, you need some guns?" "Yeah." So I'm taking orders now. M16s, flying tanks, no problem. That's why they lost that invasion. They never showed up with all that crap I promised them. See, I was one of those chameleon guys. If you thought I was a pilot, I was a pilot. If you thought I was a hitman, well, that's wonderful. I'm one of those guys, too. I just fit right in. So, comes 1964. I'm in front of a judge. He's got all these charges, guns, assaults, and shit. I remember him. I'm down there like this. He's got those glasses on. He says to me, "Mr. Hurley, just what do you think the problem here is?" I said, "The Italians." He said, "The what?" He said, "Get him out of here." No, he said, "Get him back here." He said to me, "Go to AA. If you want any proof, you go to AA." Now, I don't know about anybody else, but 1964, going to AA in my neighborhood was a no-no. My God, I knew who alcoholics were. They were bums, and I knew where they came from. They came from the Bowery. They popped up through the concrete. Poof, they were just there. They humped and had little bums, and that's the way it went. And we had a little bum community. There'd be no way I could get there. Sharp guy like me, you know. Anyway, so I go home and I go to my local gin mill and I got to make a phone call. I call up Intergroup and this nice woman says to me, Jesus, Leo, you're in luck. We have a meeting right on your corner. I said, are you crazy, lady? Suppose somebody sees me. Night of mine, fires in the house, police arrested me, caused the guy went to demolition derby, divorces. Well, going to AA. So she said, where would you like to go? I said, San Francisco, if I could fly out there. So we settled on Bay Ridge, which is right next to the ass end, right next to Patterson. It's on the other ass end of Brooklyn. And I went on a Friday night, and I put on my black mafia suit, black shirt, black tie, had a black hat, black sunglasses, black mustache. I looked like Zorro coming into this thing. I come piling into this meeting. And what a shock. It was an old people's meeting. The average age in 1964, aside from Ronnie, was 55. Old 55. Old musty Irish people. It looked like God's waiting room, this meeting. I mean, Jesus. And I come in with that same stupid attitude, you know. I said, the guy, how you doing? I said, good, wonderful. I said, come here. Who's in charge here? He said, what? I said, where's that Wilson guy? He said, sit down there. Where's that Wilson guy? That's what you're talking about. And I sat down, and I looked around, and I see all these dumb things, be nice, live and let live, and but for the grace of God. And then I seen a slogan I liked. Said exit. Zappo, out the door I went. For the next 8.5 years, well, I'd like to say I was in AA, but that'd be a damn lie. You got to do something. See, I can take a chair and go sit in a chicken coop and go to 600 meetings. That ain't going to make me no chicken, does it? You know, you got to do something. And I did nothing. I learned to lie. Because at the next meeting I went to, they did that newcomer thing. Jerky puts his hand up. About 50 of these old bums come over to me. They wanted my phone number. I said, for what? They said, we'll come to your house. And I said, you can't come to my house. Are you guys crazy? So I learned to lie after that. You'd say to me, are you sober? I'd say, yes, 2 years. All right. Would you like to speak? I said, no, I spoke last night. I can't. You see, I don't want to stop drinking. Because if I wasn't drinking, I was like Dr. Silkworth described. I was restless, irritable, and mighty upset, unless I could get the ease and comfort produced by a few drinks. I've had this set of committee in my head since I was born. Life sucks, you ain't going away, too small, too short, too fat, too ugly, and then, you know, then 2 drinks, I had a new set. You're the greatest, you're the toughest, you're the smartest, you know. And self-delusion is terrible. I was always going to, Joe D put it out, I was always going to win the Irish sweepstakes. I didn't have a ticket. You can't win the thing without a ticket. And nobody else has got any answer for this deal. Now, I owned a bar at the time. Now, I've tried drinking left-handed, white wine with fish, red wine with meat, vodka with prune juice, vodka with apple juice, vodka with tang. I've been baptized, sprayed, sprinkled, screwed, tattooed. I've taken pledges with the devil, karate lessons, kung fu lessons. In 1970, I was hanging around with these nice Haitian people, and they used to call me Fufu, which I thought was a French title. It means crazy in the head is what it means. And they told me, Fufu, there's something wrong with you. So they're going to do an exorcism on me. And they take me up to this warehouse in Brooklyn, and we got bones and chanting and blood, and we were smoking goat shit in a pipe, and I thought it was going to help. It was going to drive these evil spirits out of me because, you know, see, I want to drink. And other guys, tough guys, got no answers. It was 1967. I was hanging out downtown. I was taking numbers with this guy, J.W., and his uncle was Big Mike. And Big Mike was the godfather of Brooklyn. He calls me over one day. I was living with Joey down at Seagate, and he said to me, hey, man, kid, I like you. He said, Joey tells me you're a good guy. Benny tells me. He said to me, but I noticed you've been getting sick lately. Joey tells me you throw up a lot. I said, well, I don't know, Mikey, my stomach is... He said, I'm going to give you an all-Italian remedy. I said, what's that? He said, I want you to drink some olive oil before you go out. Coat your stomach, you're going to be okay. So I go home, I buy a big bottle. Well, one alcoholic, 2 Big Mikes told me what you're supposed to do. And I drink it down, and I go out drinking at night, And at 4 o'clock in the morning when I threw up, the stuff shot out. It hit the back of the room there. What's it going to do for you? And if you go with a gin mill, they're only going to give you more bad information. Now, there's a den of bad information, for God's sake. So I've changed addresses, changed wives, changed houses. I got thrown out of this bar in 1967. My uncles and my father came to me and told me, and I owned it. They told me, you're out of here. So I went to work on Wall Street. I got married again. And, you know, dressing me up and putting a new suit on me without a program of recovery is like putting a tuxedo on a pig. All that you did was dress me up. Nothing changes. I'm still selfish, self-centered. Oh, yeah, we get to them, Joey. We're going to come into them soon. We're moving right into the shoe deal. Anyway, the reason I bring that up is if someone's here and new and you got a nice, secure job, hold on to it. Yeah, 5 minutes after you're fired, you don't work there no more. It's April 1972. I work for the prestigious firm of Merrill Lynch, Pierce, Fenner, and Hurley. They called Hurley in for what I deemed to be a big promotion, and they fired my ass. Now, I was shocked. I thought I was going to be chairman of the board and president, but that alcoholic guy went down, I had a quick drink, and that whole thing come down. I looked up, we're in a 50-story building. I said, I'll give them a week and they'll fold. I told my wife, if they call you, tell them I ain't here. And I just checked my machine this morning. They ain't called me yet. That's 23 and a half years ago. Now I had a host of other little problems. Minor problems, but those things like Fred was talking about, them things that alcoholically slip up on you. The year before this, I had gotten in trouble with this counterfeit money, and my brother came to me, and he's a cop. He says, look, I'll help you out. Well, you got to stop taking those damn diet pills. They drive you crazy. So I stopped taking them, and I gained about 150 pounds in a week. I rocketed from 140 to 290. I was fire engine red. Blood pressure at stroke level. I had Don King hair, and it stood up, man, and out like this. And I only had 2 suits left. I had a green one and a blue one. One was full of pigeon caca and bullet holes, and, your fly won't zip it because you can't. And I used to buy these big ties and tie. My neck was about 40 now. When I dressed up, I looked like a tomato with a tie on, all blown up, and I only got 1 pair of shoes left. You wouldn't like these guys. I used to pay like $400 for these pointy Italian guys. If I kicked you, I'd stab you to death with these things. Only not being a shop guy anymore, because when you're a shop guy and you throw up, you lean way out. You never throw up into the wind because it comes back on you. And when you're running out to the bathroom, you find a bowl with a strainer so it don't hit you. But now I'd be getting sloppy. I'd be talking to you at the bar, and I'd go, so I would go home and I'd put my shoes under the radiator. They curled up like elf shoes. You had to see these things. Now, I used to have to go into New York for a job interview. You had to see this deal. Be a shop guy in there. I'd be in there at 9 o'clock in the morning, be some shop guy. He'd look down, and then Mr. Hurley. And he'd look, what the hell? Jesus. Here I am, 294. Oh, I had an attaché case in it. I'd gotten run over by a garbage truck, and it was all mangled. Plus, I was on a job interview the first time, and I got up in a nice office, and I got sent outside. And, I started to get sick, and there was no place to throw up, and I went into the stairwell, and I threw up my attaché case, and I closed it, and then I just washed it. So you had to see this, and I would come into personnel, and the guy would, I got gum and mints and chlorets and all this crap in my mouth. And I got this painkiller, Benzident, because my teeth would hurt. And then I'd sit down and I'd go, my stuff would all ooze out green. And the guy would look at me like, what the hell is this? So now I'm unemployable. I had lists. I had whack list, kneecap list, and finger list. And the more you screwed me, the more I moved you around on these lists. I came home this night. It was June 72, and I knocked on the door, and I figured when the wife opens the door, bingo! Finger in the eyes, and then I said, no, I wasn't in the habit of doing that. I hated that crying crap. That's a disgusting state to put yourself into. Jesus, oh, God. And I had done that numerous times. One of my wives straightened me out, though. I don't know which one. I said to her one night, nobody loves me. Everybody hates me. I said to her, you know, I'm my own worst enemy. She said, not as long as I'm alive, you ain't. I said, holy shit. So she said to me, why'd you go to AA? I said, no, man, that's for drunks. So I said, oh, well, anyway, so I run down to my favorite watering hole. I have 12 quick ones. I said to Quigley, I'm going. He said, where are you going? I said, I can't tell you. He said, well, you know, it looks like you better go somewhere so I can fly. And if anybody here, any of these two newcomers don't think you're alcoholic, I know just what you're talking about. I come flying into this Flatbush Beverly group, 290 pounds, fire engine red, blood pressure at stroke level. I got my Emmett Kelly outfit on, my curled up shoes, got my sunglasses on because I'm a shop guy. I had slept in Prospect Park the night before. I fixed her good. I didn't go home. I stayed in the park. And the pigeons did caca all over me. I had all this stuff. Now, I got everything going for me. I got no job, no money, no chance of getting any job, no chance of getting any money. I had borrowed, stolen everything. I was full of fear, guilt, hate, remorse, anxiety, depression. Some guy at the door said to me, how you doing? I said, wonderful. He said, wonderful. He says, you an alcoholic? I said, no, my wife sent me. So he puts his arm. I said, easy with that arm around me. He said to me, sit down over there. Looks like your doodle one comes along. And I got a break. 4 guys I thought died in my neighborhood came out of the kitchen. They come over to me and they said, how you doing? I said, I'm doing what? Hey. She said, we'll pick you up tomorrow night. I said, what for? They said, a meeting. I said, I'm at one. They said, no, wise guy. Now, I was afraid of these guys. These are all violent suckers. You didn't show up Tuesday. You wouldn't be around Wednesday. Let me tell you that deal. And they kept coming. Now, I got nothing against anything else in this world, but I don't know what I owe those guys for that deal. You see, I see today, my name's Jim. You want me to sponsor you? Call me. Thanks, Jim. It'll be the day I'd ever call you. These guys came and got me. I don't know how to thank them for that deal. You see, because I wasn't finished yet. I went to 900 meetings in 90 days. If we had a clubhouse in Brooklyn, it was over a bar. What a place this was. Open 8 in the morning, Doug and the Fahey's closed, and the guy used to tap the beer, come right up to the meeting. In those days, we had active alcoholics at the meeting, too. They'd be whapping it. We could smell them, too. You could always smell a hypocrite at the meeting. He was drinking. But anyway, I didn't change, and then I moved from Brooklyn to Long Island, and I stopped going to meetings, and I went past this church up here on Hempstead Turnpike, and I said, Jesus, nothing but farmers out here, for Christ's sake. Well, a city slicker like me, well, I'd meet Amos McCoy and the Beverly Hillbillies at these meetings, and I stopped going to meetings, and Christmas Eve came, I took a drink. And it was February 19th, 1973, I had my last drink. And for the grace of God, these guys called a friend of mine, Chicky, who lived out here and wherever he lived. And they said, look, call Hurley up, he needs help. Danny calls me up. And I knew Danny from the neighborhood. He was a good guy. He was one of those guys on the corner. Danny had been a cop. He had been a fireman. He was a lawyer now. And he's talking to me, and he says those magic words. He says to me, do you want to go to a meeting? I said, no, thanks. He said, good, I'll be right over. And he hangs up. Now the stiff is coming to my house. How am I going to get rid of this guy? And I didn't. Thank God. He took me around. He took me to the Turnpike group, and he dumped me off with this crew down there. And I started to do things like I was supposed to do. First of all, you know what I did? I stopped drinking. Yeah. Now, in order to stop drinking, you got to stop drinking. That's the deal here. I mean, I couldn't get that through my head. You know, and it's such a hard concept. And then I run into Ronnie and the deal. But you got to get active in this program. You see, you can't sit around waiting for this crap to come to you. That's the thing here. They made me the chairman after 90 days. Whoa, boy, now I was elected to the chairman. They made me the treasurer of the time group. Woo, big time now. Conley put me right up there. And Joe D told me he knew I was a shop guy. He said, I can see, Hurley, you got talent. I said, he wants me to wear a suit. He says, give this group some class. It's all bums in this group, he said. So Jerky Me shows up, 115 degrees. I got a suit and tie on, and then they had a thing here. Does anybody here know how long the preamble is when you can't lay it down and read it? When you have to hold it like this, and they moved the table away. The bums made me read this thing up here like that, but I started to get sober. And that's the deal. You see, I know I can't drink today. That's the one thing they put into my mind. I got a whole bunch of advisors, and Howie Furman, I'll never forget the time. See, these guys weren't interested in my feelings. They were interested in my sobriety. I said to him one day, you know, Howie, I suffer from low self-esteem. He said, you bullshit. You suffer from reality is what you suffer from. You're a rotten father, a stinking husband, a terrible worker. You're a dirtbag. Change your actions, he told me. That's the only thing that's going to make you. When you do good, you feel good. And I don't know where that all comes from. That's not my nature to do good for anybody. If it is, I want something in it for me. That's the deal in my neighborhood. You do something, we take something. And I had to learn all these things. And the trip has been good. Sobriety is good. If anybody here is wondering whether you're really, really an alcoholic, what stage you're in, you go to these treatment centers, they got the early stages, the middle stages, the final stages. I asked this guy Murphy one time. I said, Murph, what stage I'm in? He said, but I'll give you a test. He said, you just find out this way. Don't read those books. He said, in the early stages of your drinking, if you got a drink with a fly in it, you'd send it back. Say, get that thing out of here. I don't want that. Now, in the middle stages of your drinking, you get a drink with a fly in it, you chuck the fly out. And in the final stages, you squeeze that fly in case he drank anything on you. That's what you do with that thing. So I had to learn all these things, and it's not easy for a guy like me. I don't learn too many. We were talking about that inner child stuff. I don't know. I got nothing against that, I guess. I know. But anytime I call on that inner child, Chucky shows up. I got to run around. I need to hang around with adults. That's who I need to hang around with. You talk about childish, for crying out loud. Somebody asked me one time, where'd you grow up? I said, I didn't. I just got taller. Why would I grow up? I'm in New York March. Got nothing to do, and the head's rolling around, and I look around, there's a big sign, must have been this big. It says wet paint. It's wet. What the hell is wrong with me? Why can't I leave that sign alone? That's childish. I got to go over and make sure it's wet. Now I'm stuck with a big red thing on my hand, And I suffer from that attention deficit order or whatever that is. I don't care how long I'm sober. I got no concentration at all. I know how not to drink. I'll tell you that much. But it was brought out to me last October. I was over in Jersey. I lived in Park Ridge. So I don't like to say that too loud up here. Thank you, Peter. Okay, but anyway, I'm over there and I said to myself, well, let me do the car. I think I'll Simonize it. Get it ready for the winter. So I went downstairs. I got out the biodegradable crap, filled it up. Got out the vacuum, got out the buffer, got out all the things to lay around, the towels, got out the Simonize, and I laid it all out. And I started on the hood, and I did the hood. I said, geez, I think I'll do the leaves. All right, I got to go over there. So I got a nice shiny hood anyway. But I know how not to drink. You see, that's the only thing I got to remember in this deal is how not to take a drink. And I'd like to drink today. I don't care what anybody else tells you up here. Drinking was good for a guy like me. I'd rather right now be in a raven's nest. Right up front, binoculars. See, because I know that second drink went down, I'd have that Tom Cruise look. Hey, baby, come here. See, I know that. See, there was always a price to pay for my drinking, and I didn't know about it. See, a sharp guy like me don't know these things. I think it's just because I'm a type of jackass. I'd walk in a bar and I'd throw 100 up. My ego wouldn't allow me to ask you what the price of this stupid thing is. If you rung it up, I said, come here. Give everybody a drink. But one day I went into this place. I said, guy, give me a drink in here. What do you charge? He said, $2 in your car. I said, $2 in my car. He said, you want the drink? I said, son, I want the stupid drink. What's wrong with you? I had about 100 drinks, and I had a head-on collision on Ralph Avenue, and I had canceled my insurance to save some money, and I lost my car. And about a month later, I went in a place, and I said to the guy, give me a drink. What are you charging here? He said, $2 in your job. $2 in my job. You want the drink? I said, son, I want the stupid drink. I had about 100 drinks. I didn't go to work, and I got fired. And about a month later, I went in another place. I said to the guy, give me a drink. What are you charging here? He said, $2 in your wife. I said, give me a double. No, but I went home and she left. She left. And Fred was talking about kids. I hated kids. No, when I got to AA, I wasn't prejudiced. I hated every human being on this earth. There wasn't a soul I liked. My wife would tell me a nice guy lived down the block. I'd rip his eye out when I got home. I don't even know this guy. I hate him. I hated everybody. I had answers for everything. I could blow up everybody and shoot them and hang them and let's electrocute them, So I had, and this is nice, I had 3 stepkids and one of my own, and this is a nice thing. Now, I used to take these poor kids to the zoo when I was drinking. Up Flatbush Avenue we would go, military fashion, because I used to discipline my children. They call it child abuse today, is what they call it. And if you moved, I banged you in the back. Not the girls, the guys, in the back of the head. And anyway, I'd have about 100 drinks in each bar. Keep going. Now, in Brooklyn, some jackass, before the zoo, put a merry-go-round. So we'd get there at 2 o'clock. I'd buy $50 worth of these tickets, and I'd give them. I'd say, yeah, I'll be right back. And I'd go across the street for a drink. I'd come back around 10 at night, and I'd take them home. They'd be going around in circles. Stupid merry-go-round. We never went to no zoos. We never got into the zoo. We never went nowhere. I took them to the circus. I got arrested. I was down kicking a shit at the clowns, and they're pulling on the elephants thing, and a cop come down. He put the cuffs on me. He took me right outside. So today I had to learn from you guys how to love kids. And that's the thing. See, I look at there. Kids like to be hugged. They don't like to be hit. I had a granddaughter. She's 8. But 2 years ago, she said to me, Grandpa, I want to do that. I said, I don't want you to do that. She said, well, I want to do that. I said, I'm telling you, I don't want you to do that. She says, well, I'm good. I said, I'm telling you, you better not. She said, what happens if I do it? I picked her up and kissed her. I said, I'll kill you. I said, well, am I on drugs? I'm not getting in an argument with a 6-year-old. What the hell's the matter with me? I don't know if she did it or not. It's not that important. That's the deal. What the hell's the matter with me? And that's what you people taught me. Say, I got to learn how to do these things. Because I'm not a very loving, caring person. I got to work hard at it. See, because I get up in the morning, I have a committee in my head. And how much time? Okay, so 5 minutes. Okay. Anyway, I got a committee in my head, and it probably looks like this room. I can see some of you guys right up here in my head. There's the committee, and they start right in as soon as I wake up. Life sucks, you ain't going nowhere. Too short, you're too fat, you're too stupid. And let me tell you something. They are relentless. They start in every morning. I can't get rid of them. But I can sort of slow them down a little. You see, when I was going in Brooklyn, we had some crazy people in AAs, guys that scare you. We had the Moose and Bedbug Bob and Joey Blue Eyes and Jesus, I'd go in the kitchen, I'd say, oh my God. Next night I'd get in the car, maybe he's next to me. Holy shit. But I learned to, what's your name? Bedbug Bob? Fine. See, now when I know them, I ain't as scared of them so much anymore. So I give these guys up there names. Here's the too fat guy. Let's let him share for a little while, because he's going to share anyway. It doesn't matter. And it doesn't in the morning. They start in all day long. But you see, what I don't do is I don't help them out. I don't go home at night and stay home and watch movies about murder, rape, incest, child molesting, and all that other trash they got on TV. I certainly don't turn on the 11 o'clock news to find out what's going on here. Because you know something, like Fred was right, might be both peepers. I got 2 peepers today. They both went off. One's President Clinton, the other one's Giuliani. They want my help, but they're going to have to get along without me. You see, I got to stay sober. That's the deal here. I can't help out those guys no more. So I have to keep these guys quiet up there. And I won't watch the 11 o'clock news, because by 11:30, there's 24 players I know we should break their kneecaps, and there's 10 nationalities I know we should just blow up and get them the hell off this earth. And then I go to bed mad. And then I wake up mad. And then I'll read the newspaper. Now, there's a smart-ass thing to do. Read the newspaper, Daily News, whatever that stupid thing you got, Newsday. And then boom, boom. Then I get in the car. Boom, 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 beep, beep. Finger out the window. See, where's Glenn? Get them tapes. Put all those tapes in your car. That's where I get all this stuff from. I steal all this stuff. I got this all out in California. I can't go back and speak there. This is all everybody else's story out there. But Ronnie told me you must give a guy credit 3 times. I sponsored another guy in and said we give nobody credit for nothing. You just steal it. So that's what I do today. And that's the deal here. Keep that committee quiet. Don't let it rattle you around. I mean, you know, we got too much going on for us here. And I need a sponsor. Please don't sponsor yourself. That's the dumbest ass thing you can do. You know, that's the deal here because what's insanity? Doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results, correct? Well, I was in a detox the other day, and a guy came in, and his ears were all black and crisp and singy and hanging off him. And Jesus Christ, I said to the guy, what the hell happened to you? He said, well, I was home. He said, and my wife said she'd call and tell me whether I could stay, and I was drunk. He said, and the phone rang out in the kitchen, and it was dark, and I couldn't see. He said, I went out, and I picked up the iron, and I went... I said, I understand that. I said, but what happened to the other ear? He said, she called back. so if you're going to pick up a drink or any of these other things, and you know, and this other deal I hear about in AA today, relationships. I'm in a relationship. I'm out of a relationship. God's going to get me a relationship. They think God's a pimp. He's got nothing else to do up there but get them related. This is stupid. And all as I hear about these relationships is the old type of relationship. I love you. You know, I was a great one at that, and at 4 o'clock in the morning, you know, and I'd like to say 4:30 when it was all over, but more likely 4:01, you know. And if I do the same thing today in sobriety, you know, I love you. About an hour later, did you get my shirts? No. Get out! I'm sick of you. I mean, that's not love. What kind of crap is that? That's not the deal. Love is not an emotion. It's a way of living. See, that's something... I see people who love and care. That's the deal here today. Love is sex. That's on TV. Want to make love? They go and hump. That's not the deal here. You got that going for you. That's all you got going for you. And one other thing I'll share, and then we go. It was 1969. I got a phone call from my first wife, and she said, I got to see you. I said, okay, man, who cares? You know, I'm into my tough guy attitude. Put on my sharkskin suit, pink shirt, pink tie. I got about 10 pills in me, and boom, bottle of vodka, all in. And I had a nice car, I had a 59 Studebaker Golden Hawk with a supercharger, 4 carburetors. Yeah, I'm 30 years old, going on 20, for God. And I pull up in this Canarsie neighborhood. I jump out, and people are looking. And my little daughter was there. She's 8 years old. I went to pick her up, and she told me, you bum, go away and leave me and my mother alone. I hate you. You're a bad daddy. And I said to my wife, what do you want? She said, I want a divorce. I said, who cares? I said, now she said, man, why don't you do me one other favor? Don't ever come around here no more. I said, who cares? After all I did for you, took you out of the slums of Brooklyn, and I put you in a penthouse, you know. So I left. I jumped in a car like an arrogant jackass, and I left. And I never seen her again. And I wrote her a letter when I sobered up, and I called them up, and I said, I'm sober. They said, good, you always should have been sober. That's the deal. Now, the nice deal is, that used to bother me. I couldn't, but I knew something. I couldn't drink over it. And then just last January, I got a phone call. Someone says, Linda, it's my daughter. She's 34 years old now. She said, could I see you? For a second question, she asked me, are you still sober? I said, yeah. And I went over there, like a man, like you people taught me. I said to one guy, what am I going to do? He said, just be Leo, go over there. And I went over there just like you taught me, like a man. I dressed up, put my suit and tie on. I went over, my first wife was there. And what a nice day. I had a granddaughter I just met. I hadn't seen her in... I'd never seen her. And kids are good. She come running over to me. I picked her up. She said to me, Grandpa, where you been? I said, on vacation. You know? But I left there like a man, feeling good. My daughter on the way out says to me, thank those guys for me. That's the deal here. Thank those guys. Because you knew where this deal came from. Nothing I do. Hell, I'm only a messenger. That's all I am here. I'm only sober by the grace of God, and sometimes I don't even know why that is. But I left that house feeling good, not like I always used to feel. And I got in a car, and I drove into, it's in Wayne, New Jersey, and there's a nice gin mill on the corner. And I said to myself, wouldn't a vodka go nice now? I mean, this is crazy. I just came in, and I quickly, because the thoughts of drinking come to me all the time. See, I figured maybe I should use cocaine. I'd probably be a social sniffer, you know. And yet it's amazing. I see these guys on TV. They got a whole pile of cocaine and then they cut it up. Why would you do that? Snort the whole pile while you got it there, you know. One shot right down. They order 8 balls. I'd order cannonballs full of that stuff. So I'm just happy today that there is an AA. I'm just happy that, and I'm happy for that other deal. I'm happy. I was up at Bill Wilson's grave just recently, and I looked down, and everybody left, and I went back, and I said to him, "Thanks, pal. Thanks for going out there looking, not waiting for somebody to call you. Because if we were waiting for Bill to call anybody, we'd still be there." And at the international convention where I spoke, I'll close with this. There used to be a guy who, Jimmy Durante, used to run around. He used to say, "Thank you, Mrs. Calabash, wherever you are." So I always like to say, before I close now, is God bless you, and thank you, Bill Wilson, wherever the hell you are. And thanks for having me here. God bless.